I've ever seen. If I had you by my side, it would mean so much to me. Many years of my life. No matter where I go, babe, I'm never satisfied. Slow down, slow down. Let me step on board. I wanna ride your train one time before I go. So this is the lesson on JB Lenoir's Slow Down. A real interesting take on the typical 8-bar blues, which you probably know as Key to the Highway. And JB really made it a very personal version and very personal style also. And it's in the key of E, while I'm playing the capo on the first fret to facilitate my voice a bit and the picking, and we're in standard tuning. Okay, let's start with the introduction. So we're starting slide to the 4th fret 3rd string, and then I'm doing a upward rake. Followed by hammer on pull off. And that second beat, that's a pick, and then the open string is also picked with a temp. And the up rake, it doesn't matter if you hit the 4th string, because it's immediately followed by the temp. Temp, index, temp. Also with a temp. There's a lot of playing with the temp. If you watch JB, for example, he has he plays this song on YouTube also. There's a video of it. And you will see, he plays with a temping, by the way. And he plays a lot with his temp. Also the treble runs, and we're going to see that in the solo. This is really special and gives it a very special, unique flavor. So temp, temp, index, temp, 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 A chord, and rake. Open strings, but when we're going to hit in the next measure with the temp, the open E string, your E chord should be there. So you're gonna, in a way, you hear that slowly. And we have a B7 played with a temp here, and a hit, and a rest, and a hit, and that's just a pickup note. It's not a melody note. It's very softly played. So one more time. And notice the muting also. Not like that, but so we have a slide with a D-shaped E chord, the 4th and 5th fret, and try to add a little bit of dynamics here. And that downward, that arrow in the last beat, I hit with my index and middle held together a little bit and curved like that. And immediately followed by a mute. And also those notes are played which, with two fingers, one finger for each string, the middle for the first string and the index for the second string. You get a little funky sound because that third string also rings, of course. And then we're going to a B7, an A7 bar chord moved up 2 frets. Temp, temp, index, middle, index. And then to the A. And when we go to A, we do a slow hammer on. With vocals it makes more sense, so we're gonna, I'll show you that later. So it's 1 and 2, 1. Slow down, slow down. Let me step on board, you see, let me step on board. Then it makes more sense. And you can vary the length, of course, of that hammer-on and play it according to your singing, of course, because that's why it's the hammer-on is delayed, so to speak. Let me on. And then we have a standard A7, but for example, JB plays it with a half bar, so he's not gonna play the open string, I think. But well, I change it a little bit, and this is it's not a really pull off. It's simply lifting your finger, so the open E string is heard a little bit lesser in force. JB doesn't do that either, adding the index finger to the fourth, to the fifth string first fret to get an A diminished. I did that also in my version of Key to the Highway. And that's a pickup note. And a double bass there. Mute with the right hand. It has mostly what I call the country blues mute, which is open and then muted afterwards with the palm of your hand. So it's not like that muting, no. And then we're going back to E in the 7th bar with a little hammer on. And the pinky does all the work. I keep my E chord on its place. And we're walking into the B7 chord. And here we have, and then we have a roll, temp, index, middle in that second beat. And followed by a pinch and a bend. And the open string, after that you can, by simply releasing your finger, you're going to hear it a little bit, and that's okay. And here we have the choice. I sometimes play, okay, play the full thing again. I play as the last beat, open index. I often use triplets to go from one chord to another, and also open strings. If they are followed by the chord, it always sounds good, and it fills up your sound. It fattens up your sound. Sorry. And sometimes, that's why there's in the tab says or. Sometimes I use, where the x-axis, simply a slap. And I hold my index and thumb together when I slap like that. Like I'm holding a flat pick. I should have held a flat pick. And then we have a double bass. And that's our introduction run, which we use as a turnaround the whole song through. So again, that last ninth measure, so it's not an 8 bar, well, it's an 8 bar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yes. But because of the numbering, I started to number 1 with the introduction. Okay, and after that, I mute. Okay, I'll play it softly. I'll sing softly and play it, well, it's slow as possible. Slow down, slow down. Let me step on board. I wanna ride your train one time before I go. And then you see bar 10B, middle of the page, where I say or also on the top of the staff. That's a variation for the 10th bar. So that's why you see 10A or 10B. You have the choice. And during the performance I use both. And 10B goes like this. Here we go. You see there's a... Let that ring into the next beat, and then we're going to strike upwards and downwards. And go to the next verse or the solo. And of course that's quite muted. We'll not do that. And I'm striking up with both fingers. A little bit tilted like you see now. So they are really next to each other. The nails, so to speak. And down the same thing. Like that, and muting with the palm. Alright, and this is the way I played. The last verse, and you see that on the second page, I also added the vocals there. That's more how JB plays it. There's less, how should I say, just plays 2 notes, and well, we'll see that later. Let's first deal with the solo. And I think the whole solo is almost, everything is played with a temp. And it goes like this. Sorry. sounds a bit disjointed because there's no bass runs and jumps from one place to the other, but well, when you play that speed, it really comes together, and I think it's a brilliant solo. Although it's relatively simple, looks simple, it's not simple to play. So we're starting at the 8th fret, and you see with the temp, I'm playing both strings. He uses the open E string often as a drone string. I let it ring into the next beat, and then that's our B7, we did that before. He plays it all with a temp. And that's what in the tab, but I always, well, more play it like that. You have a choice there. I do open. I go to the 2nd fret 4th string, but it's not prominent. It's like that. Okay, from the top. And then we're sliding to the 14th fret. And open again. Open E string. 8, 7. And then we're adding, and that's what makes it genius. He simply goes into the rhythm again and picks it up without hesitation, and he's a great rhythm player. And then again it goes to the 13th fret now, and in a way he plays that's an E chord, and he plays it at the 13th fret, but he doesn't play, of course, the bass strings, just the 1st, 2nd and 3rd string, and he plays like this: open, 12th and 13th. And you can, well, I can't remember what I did in the performance, but you can play it all with a temp. And this is fast. Sorry. And I use my index here. Temp, temp, index, index, temp, index. Da 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 da. It sounds disjointed if you play it. But at speed it sounds cool. Anyway, we have them. And then, that's also really fast. And you can choose to do a rapport with the 2nd finger. Also with a temp. That's with a temp, and then the index and index. Then we have our turnaround. Maybe one more time slowly. Well, more at speed. Okay, then we have the last verse, where I'll play it first. Slow down, slow down, let me step on board. I wanna ride your train one time before I go. Okay, you notice the singing always starts in the previous verse when we did our turnaround. Slow down. And then, well, it doesn't sing and neither taps the guitar, but I do it just for rhythmic purposes. Slow down. You can hit a second time as well, or not. Slow down. Slow down. And this he doesn't do. This is a Lonnie Johnson move. Let me step on board. And then we're going up. And this we've seen before, of course. One more time. Slow down. Slow down. Let me step on board. I wanna ride your train one time before I go. And then we have the ending, which is on the first page because I added the last verse at the last moment. At first I didn't play like that, but as before. But I thought, well, it would be a nice change and a variation, so I added that second page of Tablature, so that's why the end is on the first page, and it goes like this. So... those are all triplets, except the last beat there. And I really snap it here. An accent. And then a B7 thump, followed by an E chord and then an E9, which is an E7, but you simply place your third finger on the second fret first string. JB doesn't do that either. And I think he does for that second last beat, instead of he does A chord, which is also not bad at all. Sound as good as that. Okay, that was Slow Down by J.B. Lenoir. Or Lenoir. Some people say Lenoir, but he himself said Lenoir. Okay, have fun with it.